Hey everyone, this is Laura from Something Witchy. Skye and I wanted to take a quick break from talking about Sabrina to talk about something super important, voting.
That's right. It might seem like elections are just about the presidential race every 4 years, but your local and state elections are just as important, if not more so.
Absolutely. I actually got to participate in the caucus system in my state, and it was really eye-opening. I never realized how much a small portion of the population was deciding who ends up on the ballot.
It's a great reminder that our voices matter, even at the local level. Every vote really counts, whether it's city council, school board, or even ballot measures that impact your daily life.
Exactly. Voting isn't just about the big national elections. Local elections are where a lot of the decisions that affect your community are made. Plus, the people you vote for at the local level often go on to influence things at the state and national level too.
So, if you're listening and you're not registered to vote yet, what are you waiting for? It's super easy to register. There are so many resources online like vote.org that can help you get set up.
And if you're already registered, yay! Now make sure you actually vote when the time comes. Whether it's early voting, absentee, or showing up at the polls on election day, your vote matters. We can't let a small group of people decide everything for us.
And don't forget, local elections and primaries happen more often than you think, so check your local election dates and make a plan to vote. Your voice really does make a difference.
Seriously, guys, democracy works best when everyone participates. Don't sit on the sidelines, get out there and make your voice heard.
And after you vote, come back and listen to us talk about Sabrina again. But first, vote. It's one of the most magical things you can do.
Thanks for listening, witches. Go make a change in your community and your country. Now, back to the magic. Welcome to another episode of Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I am Laura Cotter.
And I'm Skye Orchard.
And we are so glad to have you with us again. I have one question for you before we get into I have two questions for you. My first question has nothing whatsoever to do with Sabrina. I just want your opinion on this. And I could have texted you about this, but I wanted to do it on here because I need verbal confirmation.
Okay.
If somebody texts you LOL, and then you were to read it out loud, would you say LOL or would you say LOL?
LOL.
Okay, that's what I thought. I heard somebody say LOL out loud the other day, like unironically.
Yeah, I'm only ever saying lol if I'm being a sarcastic asshole.
Can we swear on this podcast?
I mean, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Are we trying to keep it for the children?
I don't know. Define children. Certainly not the Amandas of the world.
Are we trying to keep it appropriate for my mother?
Probably. Keep it Pam friendly.
So that's my one question that has nothing whatsoever to do with anything. I just needed to get your opinion on this. My question of the week. Are you ready for it?
Maybe.
If you could bring somebody back from the dead for 30 minutes, who would you bring back?
Oh, give me a second to think. It's your turn to answer first.
And you can do like a silly one and a serious one. I'm fine with that.
Okay. But you have to answer first, well, I think.
Oh, I have to answer first. Okay. So my serious one would probably be my grandfather, my dad's dad, who died before I was born. Mostly because everybody talks about how amazing he was and how kind he was. And like my sister has memories of him, but I obviously never got to know him. And I'm kind of bummed about that. So I'd like to get a chance to just like chat with him for 30 minutes and see like, is this dude as wonderful as everybody says he was? That might be worse off because then I'll know what I was missing. So that might bum me out even more. My less serious one, I had an answer, but I'm going to change it. My less serious one, I would bring back Sherry Lewis and like make her do lamb chop voices for me for 30 minutes.
Is it bad? I was about to ask you who Sherry Lewis was.
Do you know who lamb chop is?
I know who lamb chop is.
Okay.
Mainly because of you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so old. You should show Bastion. You should look up an old episode of Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop's Play Along and watch it with Bastion. I think he'd love it. That is like the most formative television show of my life. Like that's how I learned how to tell time when we would be somewhere and I didn't know how long I'd have to wait for. My mom would be like, it's one lamb chop episode. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I know about how long that is. But I've been following her daughter, Mallory Lewis, has an Instagram and a TikTok now. And I've been following her and she sounds so much like her mom and she can do the voices really well. I would love to have Sherry Lewis back for like 30 minutes to talk to me in a lamb chop voice and give me advice for my adult life like she did for my childhood.
Smart. Okay. Not having had much time to think about it. As you know, I've been watching a lot of Murder, She Wrote with Peggy because it's Peggy's favorite show. And so I think it would be fun to just chat with Dame Angela Lansbury and just hear all her crazy stories from the gazillion things she did. And then This is tough. I do have a grandfather who's passed, who it'd be fun to talk to before, actually. He had some brain injuries and then Parkinson's, because I always knew him just as his like secondary self once he's had he had a traumatic injury when my mom was like 1 year old. It would be cool to talk with him pre-accident.
So we are on season 1, episode 5. Our episode title is A Halloween Story. And the description is, Sabrina faces a frightful dilemma when she must be in 2 places at once for Halloween. It originally aired on October 24th, 1996, directed by Gary Halverson, who we have seen before as a director already, and writer, like previous shows, Nell Scoville. We have another long list of guest stars, starting with Sally Jesse Raphael as herself. We then have Emily Hart, who is Melissa Joan Hart's sister, as Amanda Wicken. Last name was not ever said, but I feel like that last name's a little...
on the nose.
More on the nose even than Spellman is.
Yeah.
This is the first appearance of Amanda, who will make an annual appearance in every season. Amanda is also based on a character from the comic books called Esmeralda, which I didn't know. Emily Hart also plays Sabrina in the animated series. Then we have Diane McBain as Granny Becker. She is the only mortal relative of Sabrina's that we meet besides her mother. She was in the 1967 movie Thunder Alley, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., General Hospital, and the 1966 movie Spin Out. Robin Riker stars as Marigold Wiccan. Again, she was also in General Hospital and in the TV series Thunder Alley from 1994 to 1995. Also on The Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, and 1 episode of Buffy. Did you recognize her from Buffy?
I'm looking it up. Oh, she plays Amy's mom. That checks out.
I don't know what that means, but I trust you. Linda Cash is Milady's voice. The younger children of the audience will not get this, but she was the Kraft Philadelphia Cream Cheese Angel, which is the thing she is most known for. Take a minute, Google search Kraft Philadelphia Cream Cheese Angel, and you will see Linda Cash dressed up in an angel outfit. We then have Jay Cogan as Mr. Altry. He's mostly known for being a producer for things like Malcolm in the Middle, George Lopez, and The Simpsons. And lastly, Philip Glasser is back. He was originally in Bunt Friday as student number 2 that Gordy was talking to in the hallway. He is our James Dean number 2 in this episode.
Lots of number 2s for Mr. Philip Glasser.
I think this might be his last appearance. I don't think we see him again.
No number 3s. Can we talk about the TV guide description quickly?
Yes, go for it.
A frightful dilemma? That's it.
I mean, for a teenager?
Okay.
I know, it wasn't very spooky Halloween episode.
I can hope that in future Halloween episodes, because I'm assuming and or expecting that I now get a yearly Halloween episode with this TV show. And if not, I will be writing to people. I don't know who. It's too late to do anything.
I think next season is my favorite of the Halloween episodes. Remembering correctly, I think it's next season. But yes, there are many more Halloween episodes that maybe have frightful more accurately. All right, what are your overall thoughts and ratings of this episode, Skye?
It was pretty fun. It was fun to see some more of the witch world. A lot of back and forth. A little disappointed that we didn't see Sabrina's birthday cauldron at all.
Oh, I didn't even check.
It's the Halloween episode. I didn't get any cauldron.
Yeah, there was a lot more happening in this episode. It was a lot more like there was a clear like A storyline, B storyline, and even a little bit of a C storyline. Whereas previous ones were like almost all one story. So yeah, there's a lot more happening. It felt a lot more standard sitcom-y to me, especially compared to the first 2 episodes that were kind of a little bit quieter and a little emptier almost in feeling. Like this one felt like we are hitting the ground now. We are running. Let's get into it. Our cold open, the answer in the kitchen singing Halloween songs and carving pumpkins. Sabrina comes downstairs asking why Salem is screeching. Sabrina's brutal with her aunts. Criticizes Zelda's outfits. She calls her singing, screeching. She doesn't pull any punches with them.
Salem's helping Sabrina with that. He's actively screeching in protest to their Halloween carols, which I found delightful.
I love them. Zelda clarifies they were singing a Halloween carol. Hilda asks if Sabrina managed to sleep last night with all of the Halloween excitement. Sabrina seems confused and says she slept fine. Zelda's disappointed that she's not in the Halloween spirit. It's their favorite holiday and a magical night. Zelda starts singing another carol while Hilda tries to dance with Sabrina. Sabrina says she's trying to get in the spirit and is even going to school in a costume. She puts on a pair of red glasses, but Hilda and Zelda just stare at her in confusion. Sabrina points out that she's going as Sally Jesse Raphael. Do you know who Sally Jesse Raphael is, Skye?
Not a clue.
Okay, I will inform you.
Please.
Those of us of a certain age who got to stay home from school because we were sick would sometimes catch the Sally Jesse Raphael show. So Sally was Oprah before Oprah was Oprah. Her show debuted like 2 or 3 years before Oprah's did, went from the mid 80s all the way up to 2002. And was sometimes serious, but more often like tabloidy, like the Maury Povich show, like what that would become. Her highest rated show was about women with very large breasts.
Okay, Sally.
And she was known for her trademark red glasses. So that's who Sally Jesse Raphael was. I was really excited when Sabrina put on the glasses, and I completely forgot that they actually had the real Sally Jesse Raphael then show up. Sorry, spoiler alert. Hilda and Zelda are extremely disappointed in her lame costume. Sabrina asks them if they can do better, and then Hilda zaps her into the actual Sally Jesse Raphael. Sally Jesse Raphael / Sabrina starts in on her usual talk show intro with her next up. We are going to talk to a teenage witch and her aunts who take things too far. But Hilda and Zelda just start singing their Halloween carol again. I'm going to have multiple questions for you that are going to be thinking questions, Skye, so apologies for this episode. Think back on your Halloween costumes over the years. If you got turned into actually one of those Halloween costumes, what would be the best one and what would be the worst one?
The worst one would be I dressed up as one of our video conference rooms because it's located in a section of the building called the Skye Bridge. And so naturally, I had to go as the Skye Bridge. So I made myself a little VC conference room sign. I taped a camera to the top of my head on a beanie. It was very low effort, but it got some good chuckles.
That's awesome.
So it would suck to be turned into that room for obvious reasons. Best one. I do love a good Halloween costume, as you know. The theater kid in me just...
Your costumes are always really good.
Thank you.
They're always very creative.
I think it would be fun. Another one, this was a pandemic Halloween costume. And every year they do a Halloween costume contest for work. And the instant you make it a contest, I'm going in. And so it was completely over Zoom during an all-staff meeting that everyone was voting. And so I literally put on a cat mask and then put a half-open box around me so people could see in. And then I dangled a mouse toy in front of my face. And so every 5 minutes or so, I'd just reach up with my hand and I'd swat the mouse. And then cat me would watch it back and forth. And I think it'd be fun to be a cat in a box for a while. Living the life.
My worst costume to be turned into would be the time in is the 4th or 5th grade that I went as a pair of dice with my best friend.
What was your primary number? What number was on the face of your costume?
No, we were both 3D dice. I had a box around me. Yeah, I was a die and she was the other one. And that's how we walked around school that day. Best one. I mean, there's all the princesses I've gone as. Cinderella, Belle, Rapunzel. Any of those would be great, I think, for a day. I went as Cleopatra once, which could be fun as long as I don't have to kill myself at the end of it.
As long as there are no snakes involved, we're good.
We are at our outfit intro. On her 4th outfit, Sabrina is in a Victorian dress with a bustle and asks, "Does this make my butt look big?"
Yes, it is a bustle.
Her hair is bigger than her butt in that outfit.
It was almost very Marie Antoinette.
It was interesting, yeah. We're at school and Sabrina spots Harvey in the school hallway. I love that she quickly takes off her red glasses before he even comes up to her. When she sees him, she's embarrassed by her outfit, which is just red glasses. Why are you embarrassed by your insanely low effort that nobody's ever actually going to realize you're wearing an outfit? Harvey hands her an invitation to a Halloween party that his parents are forcing him to throw. Harvey explains it's because his dad buys food in bulk and there's a lot of snack food that will expire in November. Sabrina notes that the invitation does state that all food must be eaten by midnight. Harvey says he is thinking about going as James Dean because all you need is a white t-shirt, some jeans, and something to lean on. He asks Sabrina if she would mind coming over early to help set stuff up. Sabrina sadly says she can't because she has a family event. And nothing says romantic night like doing work for somebody else's party.
Right.
Her aunts take Halloween very seriously. Harvey understands because his mom is like that about Flag Day, and I want to know everything about how the Kinkles celebrate Flag Day.
Well, we know it has to involve their mailbox.
Oh, 100%. Like, maybe his mom has, like, holiday-themed mailboxes that she switches out, or, like, something she puts on them, decorations for her mailbox. I was so confused as to how anybody could celebrate Flag Day that I actually Google searched how to celebrate Flag Day, and there's a WikiHow article on how to celebrate Flag Day.
Isn't it put out a flag? Go, hooray!
Yes. So number one is, that's your first step, is display your flag. Your second step is to honor the meaning of the holiday. I'm not entirely sure I know what the meaning of the holiday is. According to WikiHow, it's talking about like the different parts of the flag, like what the stars are, what the stripes are, talking about the Revolutionary War. You can go to like veterans memorials or attend a flag raising ceremony or visit a history museum. And then step number 3 is engaging in a festive activity, like going to a Flag Day parade or hosting a dinner at your home for close friends and loved ones, or throwing a block party to enjoy the holiday with your neighbors.
Can we host a Flag Day party?
I want nothing more than to host a Flag Day dinner.
Because I have never hosted a Flag Day dinner.
I don't know anybody. Listeners, if you have hosted a Flag Day dinner, please write in to somethingwhatyoupod@gmail.com.
And let us know what you make for a Flag Day dinner.
I mean, on the WikiHow article, it definitely looked like Thanksgiving dinner. It looked like there was a turkey. So.
Oh, I was imagining like a lot of red, white, and blue Jell-O, not gonna lie. But we are in Utah, so you must have Jell-O.
Like those desserts with like the blueberries and the raspberries on it in the shape of the flag. Yeah.
Flag-shaped fruit pizza.
Okay. I will be expecting my invitation to your Flag Day dinner this year.
Now I have to look up when Flag Day is. The WikiHow tell you that.
June 14th?
That's basically my birthday.
Your birthday / Flag Day. We can make flags for Skye.
Okay.
Make a flag in honor of Skye. And each year you pick a different one to put on a pole outside of your house.
Excellent.
Oh,
America.
Sabrina can't come. She feels really bad. Just then, Libby walks over and says she got her invitation. She's also happy to come over early to help out. Harvey, not understanding anything about girls, and especially nothing about Mean Girls, says sure, and tells Sabrina she doesn't have to feel bad about not being able to help anymore. Sabrina very clearly still feels upset, judging by her facial expression as Harvey walks away. Back home, Sabrina begs her aunts to please let her go to Harvey's party. Zelda refuses. Sabrina bargains by offering to stay with them on Thanksgiving. But Hilda points out that they're not big on Thanksgiving since the Puritans weren't exactly witch-friendly. Sabrina doesn't understand why they're celebrating a holiday that's about little kids dressing up like superheroes. Zelda clarifies that's not what it's about. It's about honoring the dead. Sabrina sarcastically remarks, that sounds like fun. She knows she'll have a terrible time. Hilda says that's what family gatherings are all about. And complains about how cousin Marigold will be bragging about her marriage and remarking on Hilda's continued singleness. Zelda says it's tradition to go, but says Sabrina can go to Harvey's party if they get back in time. Sabrina says she may as well go to the other realm and never come back since Libby is going to be there from the start. Sabrina storms off and Hilda asks Zelda if she can go to Harvey's party. One thing about this scene that was bothering me the entire time, at the very beginning of the scene, Zelda is wrapping up a present and then she picks it up and she takes it and she puts it on the closed piano, the closed grand piano. And on top of the grand piano lid, there's just so much stuff just sitting on top of it. A true musician like Hilda would never allow all that stuff to be piled up on her grand piano. It drove me insane.
I did not notice that at all.
Whoever was staging that set has never actually owned a grand piano. I have never owned a grand piano, but I know how I would treat one if I had one. In her bedroom, Sabrina is complaining to Salem that it's unfair and that they can't make her go to the other realm, but Salem points out that they made him a cat, so she's messing with the wrong group. Sabrina asks if there's any way she can go to Harvey's party. Salem directs her to her magic book and the full body duplication spell. I love that she then asks, what's that? Despite the name being full body duplication spell. He says she can make a double that looks and acts just like her. She says she'll send the double to the family party, but Salem said her aunts would figure that out. Instead, she'll send the double to Harvey's place until she can get there herself. She says the spell, double, double, toil and trouble, when Salem says that Bill Shakespeare stole that from the witches.
Theoretically, you are a young witch. You still have to go to high school. Eventually, you're going to have to cover Shakespeare in high school English. Did you ever have to read Shakespeare out loud in your high school English classes?
I had to, with two of my friends, recreate and film this specific scene.
There's going to be tomfoolery about if Sabrina has to do this. Teach her the magic safety finger first before Shakespeare in literature. Magic.
The rules don't make any sense. It's like what is that show? Whose Line Is It Anyway? The rules were made up and the points don't matter. So Sabrina says nothing happened, but then she steps aside and her double appears. Salem explains that she can only give her double 3 sentences to say. First, Sabrina wants her double to be positive, so phrase 1 is, I'd love to. She also wants her double to be a good listener, so the second phrase is, that is so true. Finally, she settles on a universal truth. Mr. Poole can be so annoying. Sabrina then zaps a witch outfit on her double and says she looks really cute. That is so true, responds the double. Pause for, do you want to start a drinking game with this episode as well?
Oh.
You don't have to Skye, but those of you following along at home.
I'm going to drink water. I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to be so hydrated by the end of this episode.
Every time one of these phrases comes up, you need a drink. That's the drinking game.
We'll see if I have to take a bathroom break by the end of this episode. Got my water right here. I'm going to unscrew the lid for maximum drinkage opportunities. I'm ready.
And then I have another question for you.
Okay.
If you had a double, what 3 phrases would you give your double to say?
Probably my favorite word, as you've gotten mad at me about texting you just so many times of responding with just the letter K or okay. Probably don't do that, because that can be for my home life as well as my work life. Is just don't do that. And then probably sounds about right. I think I say about those 3 words, 3 phrases, probably the most until I could get back with my double. What about you?
So I actually wrote this question and then didn't think of answers for myself. So give me a second.
This is how the pressure feels, Laura.
I know, right? I did to myself. One would probably be absolutely not. They've had a lot at work. I feel like I would go something like, that's interesting. I feel like that could be conveyed in so many different ways.
Sabrina truly does have a good strategy with
her 3. Well, one of mine is negative. I chose to go negative instead of positive, like Sabrina.
I mean, in this world, you gotta have a negative in there.
Right. That's interesting. Can be like whatever. Can be her like middle phrase. It would not work in very many conversations, but the thing I've been screaming about lately in like almost every conversation I've had is school funding should not be tied to property taxes. I've said that phrase like 3 or 4 times in the past 2 days.
Amen.
Set me at a political convention with those 3 phrases alone. Libby arrives at Harvey's house while Sabrina and her double watch from the bushes. Sabrina says that Libby is really annoying. Drink for Mr. Poole can be so annoying, and instructs her double to make sure Libby is never alone with Harvey. The double steps out from behind the bushes as Libby, dressed as Jackie O, rings the doorbell. I'm hoping I don't have to explain who Jackie O is to anybody. If you don't know who Jackie O is, I'm not explaining that to you. You need to go Google and you need to do your own research on that one. Libby says that Sabrina isn't supposed to be there and she's butting in. Drink again for it. That is so true. Harvey greets them, says that Sabrina is cute as a witch and that Libby is very classy as Jackie O, and invites them in. Drink again for I'd love to. Sorry, Skye. Harvey instructs Libby to fill the bathtub with Cheez-Its while he and Sabrina put out the sodas.
Don't even want to know why there's a bathtub full of Cheez-Its.
If we hadn't already done so many other tangents, I would take a second to do the math to figure out how many boxes of Cheez-Its they would have had to buy to fill a bathtub full. Listeners, if you do the math, please send us in what that number is. Back home, Zelda's calling for everyone to get going because even with instantaneous transport, they're still going to be late. Salem comes up wearing a bow tie and complains that he feels like a Chippendale's cat. Sabrina comes out of her room in jeans and a shirt, but Zelda refuses to let her go in that outfit. Zelda zaps on a very 90s pink dress and white tights, but Sabrina complains that she only wore it to make Granny happy And now that she's dead, there's no reason to wear it.
Trauma.
Zelda tells her it looks sweet, and Sabrina says that's what her granny used to say.
Double the trauma.
Hilda comes out of her room saying, let's get this show on the road, followed by pass the potatoes, and finally, happy Halloween. Zelda is immediately suspicious and asks Hilda what color her dress is. Hilda responds with, pass the potatoes. Zelda yells that Hilda is in big trouble, and the real Hilda comes out, recombining with her double. Zelda asks if she's the only one looking forward to this, to which she receives a unanimous yes. In the linen closet, they are transported into an elevator that is clearly going up very high and opens into a room overlooking the earth. They are excitedly greeted by cousin Marigold, who gives Hilda a backhanded compliment about her outfit, and then immediately gives a snarky remark about the ants bringing their cat, but no dates.
I would just like to give my roses and orchids to this live actor cat. It's a very well-behaved kitty cat in all these scenes. It had a lot of work to do that day. Roses and orchids, kitty. Roses and orchids.
A lot of cat stuff. Marigold introduces herself to Sabrina and asks if it's okay living with Hilda and Zelda. Sabrina says it's fine, and Zelda says they love having Sabrina live with them.
How long has Sabrina been with the ants? Have we found that out in the timeline?
It was definitely like right before her 16th birthday.
Had she met the ants before?
This is the question, because like clearly Sabrina has never met Marigold before. It doesn't seem like she's met any of her father's side of the family before, besides Hilda and Zelda, because Hilda and Zelda clearly live in the mortal realm, so she may have been introduced to them more often over the course of her childhood. But like, what were the excuses, especially after her other granny died, that like, sorry, Sabrina, your other grandmother's alive. We're just never going to go see her because we hate her and are estranged from that half of the family.
Also, how long has her dad been stuck in a book?
It seemed like the divorce was fairly recent, so it can't have been that long.
Okay.
Nobody knows. Marigold says, well, a niece is almost like having a daughter, and then tells Sabrina she can sit with her daughter, Amanda. Sabrina is unhappy with their prospect of talking about dolls, and Salem gets to go sit at the table with all the other cats. One at the kitty table, one at the kitty table. Marigold gets in one more jab about Hilda not knowing that consomme is soup, and then Zelda goes to greet their Uncle Noonie. We don't actually see, but she yells at him, indicating that he's maybe hard of hearing. Sabrina and Salem complain about their tables they have to sit at when Salem spots Milady, Marigold's pet, who is also a lush. At which point, he calls her Marigold's pet. So is Milady just a pet cat that can talk? Or did Milady do something to get turned into a cat? And if she did, do all witches who do something bad get turned into specifically black cats instead of just regular cats?
Many good questions. Also, I'm going to flag further on in this episode, Hilda's going to make a comment that just opens up more questions to this whole, is it a pet? Is it a human? What is my lady besides the lady?
Besides a kind of scary looking puppet.
Clearly the Salem puppet just with a diamond collar put on when you get the close-up later on. One of the scraggly Salems, though.
Spoiler alert, because I didn't get there yet. Sabrina puts Salem down at the table, sitting across from another black cat with a diamond collar who has just been served some catnip, which I thought a lush was specifically an alcoholic, like somebody who overdrinks, not necessarily someone who imbibes other substances. Does lush also apply to somebody who like gets high?
Milady's drinking out of a glass, so I can only assume it's like some catnip tea or wine. I think lush can work in this context.
I will accept that answer.
If it was the pure nip in like a roll or something, then we'd have to talk.
There was definitely some nip on, like it looked almost like a salad of little greens on a plate at one point though. So
just all the forms of nip in this episode.
Marigold did not give these cats anything to actually eat. She just gave them drugs.
True family gathering.
Sabrina goes to join Amanda at the kids' table. Immediately, Amanda threatens to put Sabrina in a jar if she's not nice, then brings out a jar with her mouth teacher in it, then starts plugging the air holes. Amanda asks Sabrina if she'd like to put someone in a jar, but Sabrina self-righteously responds that her aunts taught her it's not nice to use magic to hurt other people, despite the fact that she has turned Libby into a pineapple, that she has exploded a child into a grown man. Also, Sabrina, read the room. You have a psychopathic child who's not above putting people into jars. Maybe don't condescend to them.
The true core element of this episode is Amanda.
Also, just reinforcing that Sabrina's not good with kids. Any kids.
No. Stay away.
Amanda says she can use magic anytime she wants, and Sabrina calls her a brat under her breath. Hilda is sitting by herself at the head table and asks if she can move over a seat, but Marigold is saving it for her husband who is working late.
And then we get another bougie reference of someone's got to bring home the prosciutto. Or Hilda's like, why can't we just call it bacon?
Sabrina comes up to Zelda and asks if they can go yet, but Zelda points out that they just got there. Amanda yells at Sabrina not to walk away from her because she wants to braid Sabrina's hair. I feel like this is Sabrina's karma for the babysitting episode. At the party, every guy is in a white shirt and jeans, while Sabrina sticks close to Libby at the snack table. There is a nurse in the background, if you're watching this after listening to us watch it. The nurse in the background has the most amazing dance moves, so just watch that background actor and her killer rocking out.
She was given a prompt. She fulfilled it.
She fulfilled it. I've also, from listening to other podcasts, I've also heard that like in these scenes, there's actually no music playing and they added in later. So imagining her doing that with no music makes it 1,000 times better.
I feel like we need to dub some music over her dancing. Variety of music.
That'll be our promo for this episode, is her to like whatever Instagram or TikTok song is hot right now. Harvey comes over to refill the pretzels that one person ate, and Libby says that the music is too loud, but Harvey points out that the neighbors haven't complained yet. Just then, we hear a police siren. Harvey yells to someone to turn down the music as he runs out. Libby moves to another table with Sabrina, still trailing close behind her. She tells Sabrina to leave her alone and tries walking away again, but Sabrina still follows. Libby tells her to stop smiling and that she's such a goody two-shoes. Sabrina helpfully agrees. Drink. That is so true. Libby is confused and tells Sabrina that she'd like her more if she would just make fun of people. Drink again, for Mr. Poole can be so annoying. Libby seems interested by this change. The real Sabrina is still at the kids' table with badly braided hair, and Amanda is eating ice cream. Sabrina tells her she'll ruin her dinner, but Amanda says she can eat ice cream whenever she wants. Amanda's nanny said it would rot her teeth, but she just put her in a jar. Sabrina says she can't put everyone who annoys her into a jar, but that's what Amanda's psychologist said, so she also put him in a jar.
At what point is this child turned into a cat? How many people suffocated in jars must there be?
She gives them air holes.
And then plugs them up. She's killed at least one jar person by this point.
Sabrina calls her a brat again, and this time Amanda hears her. At the cat's table, Milady is getting deep into the catnip. At the head table, Marigold is showing off pictures of her and her husband and still insulting Hilda and Zelda for being unmarried. Zelda tries to help by saying Hilda is single by choice because she refuses to settle for any of the losers she's been dating. At which point I was like, yeah, same, Hilda. And then Marigold asks what Zelda's excuse is, and Hilda says Zelda is passionate about her intellectual pursuits. Her love life is just all in her head. At which point I realized I am both of them.
I feel like Zelda could have hit it off with Mr. Poole. There was the flirtations.
That was gross, though. Like, even as an adult, that was awkward and terrible to watch, and I do not support those two getting together.
Yes, it was awkward and terrible, but they're two awkward intellectuals, so.
Also, I feel like Zelda is too optimistic for Mr. Poole. Just then, Amanda comes running up to show off a jar that has Sabrina entrapped inside of it. Amanda says it's because Sabrina wouldn't color with her, and Marigold says that's so cute. Sabrina asks if they can please go home now and begs to be let out. At the party, Libby is explaining to Sabrina that she chose Jackie O because she sees herself as the First Lady of Westbridge. Drink again? That is so true. Harvey comes back from dealing with the cops and worries that the party is dying. But the onion dip is alive because it's bubbling. He runs off, leaving Libby and Sabrina alone again. Libby starts thinking about something that could turn the party around and says someone should streak. I'd love to. Drink again. Libby is shocked. This is a whole new Sabrina. First of all, in the background of the Kinkles house, their wallpaper is just overall an interesting choice, but there's like a strip that looks like just horse wallpaper going all around their living room, their front room. That is not even 90s. Like, I don't know what decade that's from. Secondly, was streaking a thing when you were in high school?
No.
I think there may have been one kid that streaked somewhere in our high school, but like I could also be hallucinating that. But I remember my mom telling me about how at their high school graduation, a kid streaked across the field.
I have never witnessed a streaking, knock on wood.
I don't think that's generally a thing that high schoolers are like, be a good time. Somebody got naked and ran across here. It's interesting that Libby would suggest that. Harvey comes back from dealing with the living dip and complains again about how boring the party is, but Libby assures him she has it taken care of. Sabrina is going to streak. Harvey pulls Sabrina aside and tells her not to do it. She'll be teased for the rest of high school. Drink 4. That is so true. He then asks why she's doing it. Drink 4. Mr. Poole can be so annoying. Harvey tells her not to change the subject and asks why she's acting so weird. The Sabrina double struggles to respond to that, and Harvey walks away frustrated. Milady is drunkenly opening up to Salem, and Sabrina asks her aunts again if they can leave now that she's out of the jar, but Marigold announces that it's time to open presents. Amanda goes first and gets a solid gold dolly, which doesn't actually sound like it'd be fun to play with. Be good for a murder weapon, a blunt force object.
I was about to say, it's part of her murder tool collection.
Okay, but I kind of love Amanda. Like, she's terrible, but I kind of love her.
It was Amanda with the golden doll in the room above the earth.
Hilda and Zelda give Sabrina their gift. It's a gift certificate to spend half an hour with the deceased of her choice. Marigold is shocked that they got her a reanimation because they are very pricey. Amanda immediately throws a tantrum, screaming that she wants a reanimation.
I can't with this child.
Very spoiled 6-year-old energy that's never been told no.
Not here for it.
Marigold drags her away. Sabrina doesn't understand what to do with her gift. The aunts explain it's hers to spend as she likes, but she must do it tonight because the gap between the living and dead is weakest on All Hallows Eve. Sabrina offers it to one of them because she just wants to get to Harvey's party to see him dressed like James Dean. Hilda points out that she can meet the real James Dean instead. Which, okay, Sabrina just heard that a reanimation spell is pricey, even from Marigold, who clearly has a butt ton of money. She says, like, kind of a half-hearted thank you, but then she, like, turns it down because she wants to go to a party, the guy that she didn't even know over a month ago.
And the guy is 100% oblivious to any of her feelings.
It's just like, Sabrina, that was, like, kind of an Amanda thing to do. Thanks, but I want to go to Harvey's party. I know you spent a lot of money on this, but, like, one of you guys can have it. Like, that's kind of...
I think we just got our new insult. That was kind of an Amanda thing to do, Laura.
That's an Amanda thing to do. Don't say that around my friend Amanda.
Or do.
Or do.
At the right moment.
Hilda points out that she can meet the real James Dean instead, and now Sabrina's excited about it. They go to another room, and Zelda tells Sabrina, which is this room in Marigold's house? Are they at Marigold's house, or are they at, like, an event center? Like,
I assumed it would be an event center. Can you own real estate above the earth in the witch world? Are we charging property taxes to fund the schools on the real estate above the earth?
Property taxes should not be tied to school funding. Drink. No one's going to listen to this. It's just going to be me and you making each other laugh. This is all this podcast is going to be.
Sounds about right.
They went to another room that is either at Marigold's house or at an unspecified event center that's above the earth. Zelda tells Sabrina to write down the name of who she'd like to see and put it through a mail slot. Sabrina wants to be sure she gets the real James Dean and not the sausage guy. Hilda says the sausage guy is still alive, but to be safe, write star a rebel without a cause.
I've realized I have not actually seen any of James Dean's movies. Have you?
Okay, now I need to look up some James Dean's movies, but I don't think so.
Two biggies would be Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden. And then he died.
Those two movies, and then he died. But also, is Jimmy Dean an actual person?
The sausage guy?
Oh my gosh. It was founded by the country singer and actor Jimmy Dean, who died June 13th of 2010. So if you were to do a reanimation spell now and ask for James Dean, you would have to specify. Although Jimmy Dean's name, his birth name actually was Jimmy Ray Dean. Jimmy is not short for James. Jimmy is Jimmy. Sabrina starts to write, then gets a better idea. Hilda tries to see what she's writing, but Sabrina hides it, then puts it in the mail slot. The aunts leave because this is Sabrina's private moment. Sabrina sits on the couch to wait, and the lights start to flicker. Then the door opens, and her granny walks in. They hug and say they missed each other. Granny says that Sabrina looks sweet in her dress, and they hug again. Marigold compliments the aunts on their gift to Sabrina and then immediately brags about the gift she got from her husband that she picked out herself. Hilda and Zelda exchange gifts themselves, and Marigold thanks God that they have each other as they open up their gifts to realize they've gotten each other the exact same butterfly scarf. Zelda sadly says they've been living together way too long. Just then, we hear Milady yelling to give something back and that she knows when she's had enough catnip. An annoyed Marigold walks away to deal with her, and Hilda complains that one of their relatives always has to get drunk.
At which point we go back to the is this a cat conversation, and now Hilda's calling it a relative. So are the Spellmans, Wiccans, whatever clan name this is, just full of psychopaths who have to be turned into cats? We know Amanda's on that road. You tell me.
Or is it relative in the way that, like, I consider my cat part of my family, and, like, my parents are, like, their grandkitty? Is it, like, pets are part of the family type of family? Or is it, like, but, like, also, like, who names an actual human person, or which person? Milady. That seemed like a weird name to give a person.
Named herself that on a power trip. We should host a poll. Psychopathic human relative turned into a cat, or just a cat? Who talks?
Salem comes up to them, saying that they won't believe what Milady just said, and then proceeds to whisper some juicy gossip. But it doesn't matter that he whispered it, because then Zelda gasps and loudly says, Marigold is splitting up with Harold? Hilda says it's the best Halloween ever.
Halloween blessings to us all.
Sabrina is explaining how she lives with her aunts now, and that they take good care of her. Granny says that she always did like them. This is confirmation. So, like, at the beginning, I was confused whether Granny was her dad's mom or her mom's mom. This confirms that this is her maternal grandmother, which means Sabrina's mom is living alone in Peru, her mother is dead, and she's estranged from her daughter. What kind of hell is that poor woman going through?
Is Sabrina's mom going to be slightly psychopathic by the time we meet her because of all this?
Or just depressed? Like,
okay. That's a more reasonable step to go to depression first instead of psychopathic tendencies. I think I'm just caught up on Amanda and Salem. And
her mom, like, the divorce is pretty recent. Her daughter's turning 16. She knows her daughter is a witch and she can't look at her for the next 2 years or she's going to turn into a ball wax. She can't talk to her own mom about it because her own mom is dead. Where's this woman's support network?
Bones she's digging up.
I hope she has a really good work family and that the other archaeologists are super nice to her because she needs somebody in her life. Granny asks Sabrina how school is and if she still likes science. Drink again for Mr. Poole can be so annoying, but he's actually a good guy. Granny asks if she has a boyfriend, and Sabrina admits she likes Harvey, but they're just friends. Granny says he'd be a fool not to fall for her. Sabrina then tells her Granny that she's a witch. Granny is slightly taken aback, but says as long as Sabrina's happy.
Gotta love a witchy coming out.
Libby grabs Sabrina and takes her outside to strip, then directs everyone's attentions to the windows. Someone asks if the Kinkles are putting on a cheesy ghost show. Libby says no, but they might see a full moon.
Okay, I wish we had gotten the Kinkle family. Let's see some more of the family. And also, I want to see this cheesy ghost show. I can just imagine them wearing, like, sheets with eye holes cut out, doing a little dance or something.
Salem is still gossiping with the aunts. Marigold went to the south of France alone. The pictures were of a cardboard cutout of Harold. Sabrina comes back from her visit with her grandmother and thanks her aunts. It's finally time for them to leave. Marigold is telling Amanda she's supposed to say thank you for a gift that an older couple gave her. Amanda says thank you and then immediately smashes the box on the ground. And it sounds like this older couple gave this child crystalware for some reason. Zelda and Hilda say their goodbyes to Marigold and let slip that they know she's getting divorced. They gleefully rub her face in it and Marigold starts sobbing that she'll be just like them. On the ride back down the elevator, everyone is admitting that they had a good time, while Hilda and Zelda wear their matching scarves. Marigold is trying to convince herself that it's better to be a divorcee than a spinster, but Milady isn't having it and buries her face in her glass. Amanda complains that she's hungry despite eating a giant ice cream sundae earlier, and starts to throw a tantrum, so Marigold zaps her into a jar. Amanda says she'll be sorry, and she'll tell her dad where Marigold hid the silver. Just a wildly dysfunctional family. Sabrina's back in her room, and Salem asks Sabrina if she's going to Harvey's party. Sabrina says she'd rather read some of Granny's letters, but Salem says she can't leave her double running around. Sabrina forgot about her. She quickly zaps herself into her witch outfit. At the party, Sabrina hides behind a bush and hands over her clothes to Libby, who takes them and starts a countdown. The real Sabrina walks up to the door and is about to go in, but realizes she is already there, and that would be weird to see two Sabrinas, so she zaps herself a mask. She walks in and notices everyone looking out the windows. She asks what they're looking at, and someone says that Sabrina is going to streak. Just then, a naked person runs across the yard. Harvey is disappointed and can't believe Sabrina would do that. Which, like, good on him for not trying to stare at her. He was, like, avoiding looking out the windows. He was so disappointed. Good for you, Harvey. But Sabrina says she didn't and takes off her mask. But if she's here, who was that? Sabrina points out that she can't see Libby, so it must have been her. Harvey announces to everyone that it was Libby streaking. Libby comes in laughing about how much fun that was, and everyone cheers for her. Libby sees Sabrina and is confused by how she got dressed so quickly. Harvey says that they all know Libby was the one who streaked, and another guy says they saw her butt. Libby yells at them for being immature and storms off. Sabrina admits Halloween is a magical night, and Harvey asks if she can stay and help clean up. Drink 4, I'd love to. But first, Sabrina goes back to find her double who is attempting to dress. She re-emerges with her double and is glad that everything is back to normal. Drink 4, that is so true.
Also, to show up at the party when it's ending and then have to clean up everyone's mess, Sabrina.
Judging by the fact that nobody ate anything, there's still a bathtub full of Cheez-Its that need to be cleaned out. Also, would you eat a Cheez-It from a bathtub of Cheez-Its?
No, I would not. I don't like Cheez-Its as it is. Would you eat a bathtub Cheez-It?
No, not even out of my own bathtub that I know is clean. Absolutely not. There's your drink for my absolutely not comment.
So stern.
I am the double. In the end tag, we have a very special episode style ending with Sabrina talking about the true meaning of Halloween. It's not about candy and costumes, it's about family and showing them how much you care. So stay home with your loved ones, gather around the jack-o'-lantern, and remember, the true meaning of Halloween is inside you. Right, Salem? And Salem says, there's a pound of candy corn inside me.
Which also, you could be storing a pound of candy corn in your cauldron, Sabrina, instead of pens. Still a better use.
I don't know if we got a shot of her desk, but I have not seen the little cauldron on her desk in a minute. So I don't think it's there anymore.
Didn't we see it just last episode?
No, I think it was a couple episodes ago. I think it was in the second episode was the last time I saw it. Or third. I don't know. It's only episode 5 and we're already confused.
I have to start a cauldron watch. I spend way too much time thinking about this cauldron.
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. For your Flag Day birthday.
I have a cauldron, that's the thing.
That's going to be your flag. I'm going to make you a flag that just has the cauldron on it.
Don't put any pens in that picture or else you're in trouble.
Oh, gosh. Join us next time for our next episode, Season 1, Episode 6, which is Dream Date. Skye, any guesses for what that one's about?
Well, obviously it has to take place on April 25th because it's not too hot and it's not too cold and all you need is a light jacket. In truth, I think Sabrina's going to have a dream about dating Harvey and there's going to be shenanigans in her dream and things are going to go terribly awry. And at the end, she's going to wake up all Alice in Wonderland style and be like, oh, it was just a dream.
You'll have to come back next week to see if you're right. In the meantime, you can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com, but only with nice things to say. We don't want to hear your criticism. You save that.
Tell us about your Flag Day celebrations.
Tell us about whether or not you agree with me that school funding should not be tied to property taxes. You can also follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod. Until next time.
Stay meowgical.